Camden National Bank is celebrating 150 years of supporting the communities of Maine and New Hampshire. And it's all thanks to you. From one location in Camden to 72 banking centers today, our journey has only been possible because of your trust and loyalty. One thing that remains constant is our commitment to giving back, from supporting local businesses at Autumn Gold in Ellsworth, sponsoring the Seaside series in Stonington, to helping the elderly at Acadia Senior College. We're grateful to have this vibrant community be part of our story. And thank you to our partners, Down East Famous, that's celebrating the people who make this region so special. Here's to the next 150 years together.
Welcome to the Down East Famous podcast. I'm your host, R.L Shaw-Beaudoin, and I am joined today with my co-host, Jena Young, a hospitality entrepreneur here in Bar Harbor. And we are chatting with Rachel Sisson. She is the event manager for MDI, but really all over Maine, all over New England. She'll go to Italy, wherever you have a special event, she can make it extra special. So thank you so much for being here today, Rachel.
So happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, before we even get started, I went through your reviews yesterday online and I was like, I cannot wait to meet Rachel. So I want to call out some of the things that were said, such as the best decision we ever made. I couldn't have asked for a better thought partner. Added sparkle in ways we couldn't have imagined. She's innovative, full of fabulous ideas. Our wedding wouldn't have been the same without her. And people wonder if you can read their minds. So just to manage expectations, so people who don't know Rachel, she's really a big deal. She's really special, and we're so happy she's here. And I'd love for you to start at the beginning. How did you get to MDI?
Fun fact, Jena hired me.
What?
Yes, in 2008. Randomly decided to move to MDI, mostly because of the hiking, because I had done a through hike of the AT when I was in my 20s and was like, let's find a cool summer town and like work in the restaurants. And via Craigslist, found a posting for Urupanunis.
Yes.
Like, this is so long ago. And came up like so randomly. I had been here once before and like lived here for the season and loved it. And then ultimately came back for a couple of seasons and just worked in restaurants. That's kind of like the hospitality base that I've always had. And then in 2010 was like, I think I'm going to try like year round and see what this is about, and did, and was like, oh, I like it here. And then it wasn't until 2012 that I started working specifically in events.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you start your own business right away?
So, no, I was involved with a friend of mine. It was like the first friend to get married, and I helped set up. And I was like, oh, this is really fun. Like, I could do this. And then I was wanting to move out of working in restaurants, but stay within hospitality. And so I started doing event management for Sassafras Catering. So I did that for a couple of years, and she, at the time, this is like 2012, 2013, required any wedding to have at least like a coordinator. So I started with like, day of coordination, doing very little to do with like what I do now, which is more design and full planning focused. And so it was much more catering, with that catering background and focus. And so then I realized, oh, there's a real demand here. There's nobody locally as a planner, and it's a destination. And so that's kind of how that evolved. So really like not until like 2016 did I really like branch out. But yeah, that's
so funny. Do you remember meeting Rachel?
Yeah, absolutely. I need to say she was an incredible hire. 10 out of 10 recommend Rachel Sisson. But we also were working for Michael Boland at the time, who we're also interviewing on this podcast.
Oh, fun.
So,
okay, yes.
Small little town, and it shows how I also didn't grow up here, and I moved here, and then it pulls you in and you find these opportunities and you find a community. So such similar stories.
Completely, yeah.
I very much remember hiring Rachel and how great she was.
It's like such a draw too when you come for the first time here. You're like, and I was in my 20s in the restaurant scene. It was really fun. And then, yeah, it just was. And then you form exactly the community. And a lot of my friends that I had made were year-round people. So it was like, there was I just remember there being talk about like the winters.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is that like? And like, just like literally picturing like tumbleweeds down Main Street. And it's not like that, obviously, but it was really like, that was a draw. And then one thing, in 2012 is when I met my husband. But before that, I was like, ooh, this is a hard place to meet people. And I'm in my late 20s and I like really do want to meet somebody and like maybe have a family. And so it all worked out because I did meet somebody and have a small family. But otherwise I was like, ooh,
Right.
this is tricky. Tricky
Well, it
place to
happened
meet
the
people.
way it was meant to, for
Exactly.
sure.
Yes.
And I know I've had the privilege of attending events that you've put on for different organizations. And when I see that you are the planner on an event, I want to go to it so much more because I know the little touches and all of the detail and how well you execute. Or I'll walk by, this is so true. I'll walk by a wedding, like at the Bar Harbor Club, and I will know that it is one of your events. And later I'll see you post about it.
You're like, signature.
So I guess my
Love it.
question is, do you have, how can I tell? Do you have a signature? Why is it that I can walk by something and feel that R.L Sisson
That's a
vibe from it?
great question. I mean, no two weddings are the same, and I really always want them to be a reflection of the couple. I mean, that's always the goal, right? Is to make it feel bespoke and make it feel like a true representation of them. And so no two weddings ever look the same, but I think well, first of all, I think I attract a certain couple. I tend to work with really wonderful, down-to-earth people who, of course, want a nice aesthetic and for it to feel elevated, but also have their priorities straight, where it's like, we just want to be with our favorite people and we want to like be present in this magic of this day that we'll remember for the rest of our lives. And so I feel like maybe it's like you're feeling the vibes and the energy from like that. And
Yeah, to be clear, it's not that they look alike. That
yeah, it's
you're
just,
right, because they look so different. There's such a elevated level to what it includes.
yeah.
It's more than a basic wedding. There's little touches, like you'll see a disco ball or you'll see some little piece. And I always think, I bet Rachel planned that, and then I'm always right. So
Yeah,
there's
I
some
mean,
kind of magic.
elevated is definitely a lot of like the vibe that people look for now is, they always say like elevated dinner party. And so we take that into another level with all sorts of like anything from lighting installation to really nice linens and
Right. That's
all
what
the
it is.
touches.
We got to the bottom of it.
We now know.
It's the kind
Yeah.
of an artist. An artist, even though, like Sam Shaw, we're having him on the podcast this season, and you can recognize his work, even though every single piece is a little bit different.
Absolutely.
So you're an artist as well as
I'm like, yes.
You're very humble.
I don't
humble
really,
artist.
I've never considered myself that, but I guess in the, it's just one of those things where you're like, kind of just are moving through something and you don't really, I've never really seen it as that, but then I now feel more confident in my work and feel more like, yeah, this is an art. And it's not only like the beauty of it, but I think it's like really the feel and the vibe too. I think it's like, we're like mood setters. And that's not just like with candlelight, it's with like every piece coming together and creating an experience, I would say.
Can we talk a little bit about the execution side? Because
Yeah.
you have part of the job is the planning and the creation of the vision, working closely with whoever it is. It's not only weddings, you do all types of events.
Right.
Getting clear on like the mood board, basically,
Yeah.
what will happen. But then there's the day of and the days leading up. I'm very curious about any tools you have for staying calm under pressure or staying organized when there are so many different pieces and so many different people involved.
I always like, describe it as a production. And so the reason why it will go so smoothly and organized and calm under pressure is because of the literal hundreds of hours of planning that has gone into each wedding. Specifically, weddings are truly hundreds of hours. And so they go so well and it is so organized because I am hands-on for every single step of the process. And so there's nothing like I'm literally all-knowing. And so when we come to the event week, I make a very comprehensive, color-coded production schedule. And this is like I cannot answer a question without this because my brain, there's just so much happening that this is like my safe space to find the answer to any question. And then really it's working with such trusted vendors that we do this all the time. So it's like, for example, Wednesday, or let's give an example of like a big production where there's like a floor build out. Like that sometimes is happening and starting the week before. And then the tenting comes in, and then the lighting comes in, and then the other, like the furniture comes in. And so it's just a really staggered approach. And when you work with like trusted vendor partners and pros, it really does all go smoothly. And I have such great working relationships with them that I never really doubt that it's gonna go well. So it's always like, yeah, Wallace Events, they've got my back. Like I know that they're gonna, if something were to happen, they're gonna be there. And then I have a really kick-ass team. And so I feel like Jillian.
Yeah, tell us about
Oh my God.
Who's Jillian?
I love her.
Jillian
Cole is just a badass. Such a workhorse and but also like she anticipates and knows exactly what she knows exactly what I want, basically. And I really we have also a binder that prints out literally like, this is exactly what the table is going to look like. And another like kind of not signature thing, but rarely do two tables ever look exactly the same. I love to mix it up because I feel like that makes it interesting. So it's like, and then this and sometimes I'm like, they're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
Like, wait, there's pink candles on this table, but blue. I'm like, yes, it's all printed here in the binder. It's like the guide. So I feel like it's so much preparation, and so much just the lead up is what makes it so that it's super successful. And like, that's what I try to explain to people where they're like, well, we don't think we need a full service planner. It's like, well, you do if you want that event, because the reason why that went off perfectly and is, you can feel what it was like through the photos is because I was involved every step of the way.
Wow.
And it's also like such a team effort. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
Can you talk about what a discovery call is like with you? So anyone who is listening and watching.
Sure. I've growing and learning every day. So a discovery call would be if someone were to inquire through my website, and we set up a Zoom. So it's always a Zoom call, which is so funny to me because a few years ago I was like, why does everything have to be on Zoom? Like, I hate this. And now it's just I'm on multiple Zooms a day. And I just think it's a really great, first of all, I have them tell me, like, give me your story. How did you meet? What do you do? Where do you live? Why X location? And obviously it tends to be MDI. What's your connection? And I hear everything from, we got engaged there and we've been a couple times, or I've been coming here every summer of my life, or I live here, and I have generations of, Bar Harbor. So I want to hear more all about them. And what I've learned from different like wedding industry podcasts is like, they should be doing most of the talking, basically. And then I want to hear, then I go through my process. So I explain to them what the phases of planning would look like, what we, right off the bat, if they choose to work with me, we would, I always say like, align your dream team. And so making sure They get all the vendors that they like. I create a curated list for them based on their vision and vibe. Like, I think these photographers would be great, or these caterers, whatever it might be. And so I just like kind of go through the process and then try in that call to schedule like a follow-up call. And then I create a customized proposal based on the scope and all the information we have at that time to present them with. And then if they choose to work with me, then we just like dive right in. Yeah.
What's your ideal time frame? So if someone is thinking about getting married, how long do you want to know in advance?
That's a great question. So it's so interesting because we're kind of like through that weird COVID time where I was regularly having 24-month engagement couples because there was such a backlog. So I think it's like at least 10 to 12 months, but ideally, if you really want, because there is kind of competition here in the sense of booking everybody, available venues. Really, if you have like 16, 18 months, that's pretty much like you can probably have your pick of date, venue, and all the other vendors. Yeah.
You're touching on this a little bit, but some people don't understand the logistic challenges to having a major event here. One of them being venue availability, but also it can go as far as the roads, the ferries, the tides, depending on how extreme an event is.
Yeah.
So, can you speak a little bit more to some of the logistical challenges involved in being an event planner here?
Sure. So I think because a majority of these are destination, right? And like people haven't come here. So first of all, I think that people don't even realize that it's an island. And like, yes, we have a bridge, and they also don't understand that it's quite large. So like some things that I find and I try to get my couples to really corral their guests to stay at a certain area in the island that's where the wedding's taking place, because you could often be like, oh, it's a downtown Bar Harbor wedding and we have a group staying in Bernard. Like, why did they find an Airbnb that it could not be further? So I think that's one piece. And just that like this is actually a pretty large island. Like I grew up on an island that's much, much smaller. So I think people don't quite get that piece. And then I think that they don't also expect it to be pretty expensive. It's such a, it's limited season. We're like maybe May to like maybe the end of October. And that's a lot more condensed than other areas where, I have had people be like, oh, or even comparing like the pricing here versus Portland. It's like, yeah, Portland is more year round in that capacity.
Yeah, and more vendors.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, they're going to charge X amount more for a chair, just as an example, here versus there, because they only are renting them for this period of time. So
I just read on Travel and Leisure this week, and they ranked the 10 most expensive resort towns in America, and Bar Harbor was like within the top 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
It just came out.
And another thing is like hotel lodging is always more expensive than people think. Yeah, like you can't get a nice hotel room for under at least 400, I feel like. I mean,
I agree.
there are some wonderful hotels that are like just below that, and that's where I, block rooms for people. But if you do a wedding at the Bar Harbor Club, so Harborside, I've had people, most of their guests not even stay there because it was too expensive. So yeah, I think it's just surprising to some people, but I think it's just what it is.
Both April and I are curious in some of the exciting stories, like the tea behind events.
Sure.
And we would never expect you to name names, but you have probably experienced a lot of moments.
I have. Yes.
Would you share some of those with us?
Sure. Okay, so one was a wedding a few years ago that was really big, as in guest count and production wise. It was just a big wedding. And there was a guest towards the end of the night that went missing. And like literally we could not find them anywhere. And there was like a little bit of panic ensued by the person's close family. And they were just like, where did they go? And we were kind of off the beaten path in like out of town in Bar Harbor. And Of course, like it had been a beautiful day and then like it started downpouring rain and guests were leaving and like still couldn't find this person. We found their keys, their hotel room keys on the dance floor, found their phone under a
Wait,
table.
you were in full detective mode.
You
went to,
Jena,
like,
full
event
true
planner
crime
to search and rescue.
I mean, to tell you,
Piecing together.
like the phone was here.
And I'm laughing,
keys
assuming
were-
it ends happily, but yeah.
Yes, it does. But like, I do listen to too many true. Like, I literally was like,
Oh no.
this is it. We're gonna find a dead body, like on my watch. And so we, were just. I called the cops because I was like, I do not know what else to do. I feel like if something has happened, like we need backup or whatever. And so, and it's pouring rain, and they come and there's flat. And it's pitch black. Like it is 10 o'clock at night. We're searching. We're yelling their name. Can't find, and where it's on the water, and there's no like direct path to the water, and it kind of drops down. I was like, oh my God, what if they fell? And all of a sudden, so there's this one person that works for Wallace. So just as a side note, Wallace Events, who my ride or die, the best. I always have a representative from Wallace at all of my weddings. So for power, for a storm that rolls through, like they're always there to like, they're my backup. And so of course this wedding had one, and he's a great guy, kind of quirky, and and he found him.
Where was he?
He was passed out in bushes.
Great.
And like could not see, and like just like came up and was just like, what? And we were all like, oh my God. Their family was like, we thought you were dead. Like,
wow.
It was a whole thing. I think that probably felt very embarrassed. But yeah, that's definitely, I kind of forgot about that story, but it's one that I always like remember, like, oh yeah.
Like, let's not do that again.
Let's not do that. Yeah, like that was
whatever that was.
Whatever. Yeah. Don't start drinking too early on the day of a wedding is all I have to say. Like,
yes.
pace
Good
yourself.
advice. Good
Yeah.
advice.
What other advice do you have for both the wedding party and how to be a great guest? I think that's something
such a
that
great question.
doesn't get talked about.
Yeah, I think well, being present, put your freaking phone away. There's nothing more annoying to me. Do not take photos during a ceremony. They have hired photographers for this. There's nothing more annoying than the cameras, I know it's exciting, but let the professionals do it. So I think being present, and I always, of course, my couples, I'm always like, you do not have to think about anything. Like we are on top of it. So be in the moment and experience all the love and joy. And then the other thing I would say is like, get your booty on the dance floor. Like that is, I always tell my couples, like you've got to, people follow your lead. If you want a fun and exciting that portion of the night, you have got to be out there. Like if you're not on the dance floor, people are like, oh, well, kind of like mingle. And I think that that's like the, personally, I think it's really important to have like a really fun and exciting dance party.
Great advice.
Yeah, I
get
had
out
never
there.
heard that advice
Yeah.
before, and I love it.
That's what I would say.
So over the course of your decade of experience in the event management space, how many events have you done? Do you have an idea?
I honestly, sometimes I think about, I have no idea. Hundreds?
Hundreds of events.
I think.
And so you've probably come across almost everything that could happen, including a missing person by the ocean at an event. Have there been some catastrophes that you have managed to jump in as crisis prevention event manager mode?
Yes. So in 2023, you may have remembered Hurricane Lee that came in this September 15th, 16th, that weekend. And I had a really big, really fun, amazing wedding planned for a family who are actually Islesford generations. And like, I'll just never forget the Tuesday of that week. We had a standing like 8 a.m. meeting every Tuesday, and it was like, a hurricane is coming. And it's a very delicate thing to bring up to a already, it's an emotional week. And so I'm like, so there's I don't know, I'm sure you're looking at the weather, but I'm a little bit worried about this. And they're just like, um, we got to talk about it. And I'm in the background, like, okay, we got to go into like, because I go into like, I'm a problem solver. So I just go into that mode. I'm like, okay, what are we doing? I'm talking to Wallace. I'm talking to the band who's flying up, a 12-piece band from New York. I'm like, I need to come up with a plan that will, a solution here that they'll like. And the day that looked nice that whole week, because every day was not nice. It was like cloudy or rainy or foggy, was Friday. It was like the whole week, Friday was looking good. I'm like, if I can get this event moved up a day, we're good, but I have to have them sign off on it. And the biggest piece of this was that for the bride specifically was that the rehearsal dinner was going to be at Islesford Dock. And she was like, come hell or high water, I'm having my, like, this is our like island. Like it was so meaningful and important. So that like, it was multiple phone calls on that Tuesday of that week of them coming back to be like, you know what, we're just going to stick this out. I'm like, we cannot have 140 people and a 12-piece band inside the old Astacoup, like not happening. And I just said, do you want to hear what I think? And they're like, yes, Rachel, we do. And I was like, I think we need to move it up a day. I know that this really sucks, but like, it's the only day that looks good and we can do it. Like the band's coming, everyone's ready to like shift gears. And so they said, okay. And like the photographer had back-to-back weddings here and happened to be here. I mean, it was just like all the stars aligned and we moved it up a day. Wow. And at 11 p.m., there was a line of trucks down Peabody Drive, and everyone went into the Astacoup for an after party, and Wallace, Griffin and Griffin, everyone broke down this entire production because they can't have a tent up in a hurricane. So it was like by 2 a.m., it was all broken down like a wedding had never taken. The same night. And then the next day we called it the rehearsal reversal and did it inside the Astacoup without power. But Wallace jerry-rigged a generator and we made it happen. So that was like, and still I had lunch with them the other day. Still like, wonderful. Yeah. So that happened.
It's incredible. Well, I know we're winding down, but as we hear more about what you do, I would be remiss to not mention that your business was featured in Vogue for an event.
Yeah.
And that is a huge deal. And I'm so curious when that happened, when you saw your business in Vogue, did you think, oh my gosh, I made it? Or did it give you this burst for more? What went through your mind?
Well, I feel like I was like, I obviously know that Vogue is a very big deal, but I don't think I understood like how big of a deal it was. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. I just never really considered myself worthy of that, I guess. And so to be featured in something such a prestigious publication was obviously such an honor. And it feels like a once in a lifetime, hopefully not, experience. But no, like I just feel like that has motivated me to get featured in other publications. And it's also, I guess, opened my eyes a bit to like what else is possible. And like, I love feeling inspired by other people's work. I follow so many other much bigger, more prolific planners, and always am so inspired by other people's work. And so I always am like, what's next? Who else can we get? But the way I understand it, it's kind of difficult to get featured. So I'm like, I will take this.
Stars aligned.
Yeah, I'm like, yes.
You deserve it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Sure.
This was amazing. For people who are listening and watching, where can they connect with you online?
Sure. So you can follow me on Instagram at R.L Sisson Events. And then my website is rlsissonevents.com.
Great. And that's 2 S's.
Two
in
S's.
Sisson.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.